Good evening, everyone. Apologies for a little bit of a late start. So we welcome to the board meeting for March 16th, 2022. We will begin with the invocation. Oh God, we pray to administer that which is just in all educational policies, being ever mindful of your guidance, stir us to action with love, wisdom, and understanding. The pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 2.03, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Do I have consensus? Thank you. Item 2.04, establish agenda order.
Motion to approve agenda as printed.
Second.
Do I have consensus? Thank you. Item 2.05, recognitions. Hang on one second. I do not believe we have recognitions this evening. Okay, we will now move to public comments. Sorry, I've got to get my... Speakers will be allotted 2 minutes each and may not allocate their time to others. The yellow light below me will shine when you have 30 seconds remaining. The red light below me will shine and you will hear a tone when your time has expired. The board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences that may be watching or viewing this meeting. Student-specific and personnel matters are confidential and cannot be discussed in this forum. Please speak only on the topic which you signed up to speak. It is not the board's general practice to engage in question and answer session with speakers. For the record, please give your name before speaking. Handouts should be given to the board assistant. And if I may add, with regard to civility, that includes no ad hominem attacks, no labeling of groups or people who represent different views from your own. Please just present your own position on something. Thank you. So I will call up first Stacy Schofield, Deanna Tice, Matthew Schofield, and Gary Palmer. Speaking on item 4.01, curriculum for agricultural science education, the CASE program. Good evening. You can take your seats if you want to use the
Okay, I'll stand.
podium. That's fine.
Am I ready to go?
You may
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this evening about the CASE program at Southern High School. I am imploring you tonight to make the CASE program a magnet program that stays at Southern High School and not placed at another school. The CASE program that is run by Dr. Stacy Eccles has fostered a profound academic turnaround for my son. Before my son joined this program, he had no footing at school, no direction or academic purpose, no idea for his future. I cannot expound enough how this program and the mentor relationship that Dr. Eccles has provided for my son has changed his and our lives. I received an email the other day stating, "The kid I see today, he is confident, a problem solver, consistently searching for solutions, willing to take initiative, forward thinking, willing to take the lead and cover his responsibilities." And all of this is due to his involvement in the CASE program. Being a part of the CASE program at Southern High School has taught my son invaluable knowledge and skills about the agricultural industry. He now works regularly with local farmers to learn more about agriculture mechanics and business. We need the CASE program expanded to include agricultural mechanics, more classes in food science, and an agricultural business to ready our students to become a part of our country's agricultural industry. If anything can be seen from recent world events, grain production is in high demand. Our governor spoke in his press conference the other day about the need to expand agricultural education. We need this program at Southern High School. We need to be integrated into the school, not separated. Furthermore, we have a state and national award-winning FFA program at Southern that is run by Dr. Eccles and integrates what is learned in CASE into the FFA program. If moved to another school, the FFA program would become non-existent, as students do not stay after school at the CAT schools to participate in extracurricular activities. No other magnet program is housed at a non-traditional high school. All other programs are an integrated part of the school system. My son, as do many others, need this program, and we need it to stay at Southern. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight on the Agricultural Science Program, also known as CASE. I'm asking that you make this program available to all students in Anne Arundel County. I am Dina Tice, a full-time farmer in Anne Arundel County. I sit on the County Agriculture Commission. I co-lead the Agriculture Education Committee, volunteer leader of 4-H and FFA programs, a board member of the Anne Arundel County Fair, director of the County Farm Bureau, board member of Southern Maryland Ag Development Corporation, and sit on the Maryland Farm Bureau Animal Care Control Committee. I tell you this to show that I am a leader in the agriculture community. Agriculture is the state's largest commercial industry with an economic impact of $23 billion each year, supporting more than 94,000 Maryland jobs and generating $900 million in state and local taxes. While production agriculture makes up less than 2% of the American population, agriculture jobs provide almost 11% of the U.S. employment. Beyond farming, jobs in agriculture include education, research, biotechnology, food, beverage, production and service, environmental services, energy, crop production, veterinary care, finance, marketing, communication, sales, national and international trade, textiles, apparel, leather production, forestry, and fishing. The opportunities are abundant for trade or college-bound students. As a child, I was given the opportunity to explore the ag science classes. I went to 12 different schools by the time I graduated from high school. What was consistent in my education was the CASE agriculture science classes. No matter what county we moved to in Maryland or what other states we moved to, the school districts would always allow me to transfer to schools that offered the agriculture science classes and the FFA club. This experience led me to be the leader I am today in agriculture. I feel that it is a tragedy that kids in Anne Arundel County that know they want a career in agriculture are not able to have that opportunity to go to school that offers what they need in high school. Please consider making CASE available to all children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Every day, our students in Anne Arundel experience the connection with our county's land, even without being aware of it. Through the CASE program, our children are becoming future leaders that will expand this connection and help it flourish through their awareness and dedication to the agricultural industry. They are our future leaders, and with this program, they can leave their footprint in the soil and make their mark by helping everyone in our community and country. My upcoming freshman son is excited to be part of the CASE program at Southern High School next year. He has watched with excitement the many opportunities that his brother has been given because of his involvement in the program and in FFA. He chose not to apply to the other magnet programs because he wants to be at Southern High School and be part of this program. As he told me today, taking the CASE program out of Southern High School takes away the opportunities to learn different skills and gain knowledge in different fields. As it is now, my son Ethan can be part of the CASE program and the welding program at Cal South. He is learning how to integrate his knowledge in both programs to create a future career and pathway. Time and again, my son has spoken to everyone, and I mean everyone that will listen to him about this program being expanded at Southern, and he keeps hearing that it's a bus situation. There are no buses. Are you telling me that we are going to keep our children from learning and growing as future leaders because we aren't willing to work out how to get buses to the southern end of the county? Are we going to continue to set up roadblocks for our students, for students in economically deprived areas that would soar by learning new skills and programs, for my two sons, or are you going to help create a pathway to their future success? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gary Palmer. I'm a farmer, father, and grandfather of 10 children in Anne Arundel County. My children attended Anne Arundel County Public Schools. My grandchildren are attending Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and I have a few on deck waiting to get in as soon as they get old enough. I truly believe in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. And because of that, I came out tonight because also as a farmer, I realize the challenges that we face every day with our workforce. Our farm is a small farm. It's located in the West River area. We invite families, we do community events, and I sponsor interns. Two of the interns I've sponsored, one of the young ladies, she is actually graduating this year from Hartford County in their magnet program, which is a CASE program, and she is choosing to pursue a career as an agricultural lawyer, specializing in representing small farms on agricultural matters. The other young man who is working at our farm currently is a junior at the University of Maryland in the agronomy program. And they both started out planting Christmas trees. These children were lucky because they had the exposure to it, but there's a lot of kids in our community that don't have that exposure. And we use a term in agriculture, sustainability. We talk about environmental sustainability, we talk about economic sustainability, but workforce sustainability is key to our success. How do we ensure that this workforce is available? By training these young people, by offering these programs and having the tools so that it makes our county as special it is to me and as special it is to everyone in this room. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now I would like to call up Christina Corona and Laura Bardill.
Good evening. My name is Christina Corona. I'm a teacher at Meade High School. I was dismayed that at the beginning of the school year, we did very little to help integrate students back into in-person learning. We opened the schoolhouse doors, expecting students to go back to learning as if they had not spent over a year in isolation, behind devices, consumed by social media, while dealing with the stresses of a worldwide pandemic that resulted in the death of loved ones and a host of financial pressures. We are already seeing rising rates of teen depression and suicide, and these last 2 years have made matters worse. Schools should be refuges, fostering our students' well-being, yet we are not rising to this challenge. This is why I'm here, urging you to support schools in implementing social and emotional learning. This must go beyond short, out-of-context wellness lessons. Instead, we should be embedding social emotional supports into what we do every day. Our school system says it is committed to PBIS and restorative practices. However, these initiatives only truly work when staff have the time and resources to effectively implement them. For our schools to be nurturing places our students need, the work of classroom teachers needs to be valued and uplifted. The complexities of active learning, differentiated instruction, and restorative practices takes time and thought to implement. The classroom is the center of learning, and yet, instead of being given the supports we need, teachers have seen rising student caseloads with no additional time to plan. The pressure of knowing that you can't do all you need is taking a toll on us. In fact, all educators need a nurturing work environment that allows us to be our best selves. Unfortunately, when we inevitably fall short, many of us are reprimanded rather than coached and supported. We cannot afford a mass exodus of educators. This is a matter of equity. Our students, especially our most vulnerable ones, need us to show up every day as our best selves, so we are prepared to meet their needs. While education should be humanizing, often it feels as if we're working on a conveyor belt, treating what we do as a process of producing widgets. Schools are communities, not factories. I urge you to ensure that you are creating working and learning environments for us all to thrive, educators and students together.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My name's Laura Bardill, and I represent our TAC members as an e-coach for the technology team and as a member of ASI. Today, I'm honored to represent educators across the district by sharing their stories to advocate for safety in our school operations. And Once Mr. Silkworth comes back, I just want to say a thank you to him for being at National History Day Awards yesterday, too. I will continue on. Recently, educators from alternative programs took a climate survey and suggested solutions for safety. On behalf of these teachers, I am here to call for filling TA and crisis intervention specialist positions, as they are essential to the functioning of our classrooms and schools. Please consider helping alternative schools with PBIS funding, as these schools do not have a local PTA. One fact I know, secondary students appreciate awards, especially food. Imagine if these schools had an ample supply of little small gift cards or other fun prizes to catch students at their best. That would be awesome. On behalf of an elementary teacher in a Title I program who has signed onto a safety pledge and who has suggestions for solutions for increases in physical violence from young learners, she says every school needs consistent funding for behavior techs and full-time counselors, psychologists, and social workers. And on behalf of provisional teachers who have become concerned, a provisional teacher who was told that her students run the school, please protect and expand DMR and Right Start advisors to help new teachers de-escalate those disruptive behaviors. I should say that also DMR and Right Start advisors would be great if they didn't have to cover classes, so that they had the full time to do their jobs. It's so important. So it's an honor to speak with you today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we're going to move to virtual testimony.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the virtual public comment portion of our meeting this evening. Speakers will be allotted 2 minutes each and may not allocate their time to others. This HAL will indicate when your time has expired. The board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences that may be watching or viewing this evening. Student-specific and personnel matters are confidential and cannot be discussed in this forum. It is not the board's general practice to engage in question and answer session with speakers. For the record, please give your name before speaking. Our first speaker this evening, based on 4.01 Curriculum for Agricultural Science Education Program case, is Kimberly Chance.
Fabulous. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kim Chance. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kim Chance. My daughter is the last out-of-area student to attend and benefit from the CASE program before the rules changed in 2018. The rules adopted in 2018 for out-of-area transfers hinder the effectiveness of this program and hurts the students. How is it that we have students that want to participate, room in the classroom and in the school, and they're being blocked from attending and benefiting from all the program has to offer? CASE is designated as a vocational program, but college-bound students benefit also. It is important to recognize that this program is more than the classes. It includes a full program of after-school activities through FFA and career development training. To fully participate, you have to attend the high school. You cannot pop in half day for just the classes. One of the most unique things that I've witnessed is the blending of the vocational and college-bound students in the same academic program. It's amazing to watch the leadership dynamics. They are on equal footing, and it gives these groups that are often separated in other schools a chance to work together. FFA is a student-run organization, and it is exciting to watch these kids work as a team. I've chaperoned the greenhouse while they've run a full-on commercial business during the holidays. They market, buy supplies, create work schedules, create an assembly line to build the product, and then greet and assist customers. They manage the sales, the orders, and the registers. They create their own hierarchy of management. We chaperones simply show up because they need an adult on site. These students are learning real life skills. This is a program that includes both classroom instruction and after-school programming, and it must be paired together. The student board is supposed to create opportunities and serve the students of this county. It is your job to find a way, create a new rule, find a new workaround, but stop blocking the students from an experience that could be a career and life-changing experience for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. Our next speaker speaking on item 5.06, Superintendent's Report, is Beckett Hummer.
Hello, my name is Beckett Hummer, and I'm a proud Meade Mustang. I chose Meade over other magnet programs because I wanted to be a Mustang. I have great teachers who challenge me and care about me, but the reality is that Meade students are not receiving the same high school experience as others in the county. We are halfway through the third quarter of the school year, and we have still not returned to normal. There are severely limited clubs, no real flex time, no pep rallies, no homecoming dance. The freshmen and sophomores have had minimal opportunities to develop friendships, and we juniors and seniors are missing out on the great memories of high school. All of our academic, social, and emotional lives are suffering under the restrictions and limitations in place at Meade. We've expressed our disappointment to the administration that we are not receiving the same opportunities as our peers at other schools throughout the county. We have spoken about the lack of clubs impacting us both socially and academically as we compete with other students for scholarships and college acceptances, and the lack of flex time that negatively impacts our academic progress. We have shared that we feel constantly punished rather than recognized for our achievements. Our complaints include locked bathrooms and constant scolding over dress code violations that do nothing but make us feel disrespected, among other things. We have left these conversations feeling frustrated with the lack of response and apparent unwillingness to listen. Students are encouraged to advocate for themselves, yet nothing we say seems to be taken seriously or results in change. We will all want every student to receive the resources they need. However, as Dr. Rivers himself has said, more than 95% of the students at Meade are doing what they should, yet our entire high school experience is being curtailed because of the actions and needs of a few. It is unfair for the vast majority of students to be punished by the administration's inability to maintain a safe and orderly environment. Students are requesting an in-person meeting with Dr. Rivers, Dr. Kennedy, and Ms. Jackson to discuss the inequity of opportunities at Meade. We want concrete dates and plans for when we'll have a high school experience on par with our peers at other schools. We want to salvage a portion of this school year so we don't lose even more. We want equality and equity for our school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hummer. That concludes the virtual public portion, comment portion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to item 4.01, a presentation on the curriculum for agricultural science education, the CASE program. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So Dr. Arlotto, you want to say hello?
Hello. So thank you very much. As always, we are delighted to share information with you about our incredible students, the programs they're involved in, clubs and activities and athletics, whatever it might be. Today, we're going to spend some time bringing you some information that we've not shared in recent times as this program has been built, and that's our CASE agricultural program. We've got both students and staff here to share some of their direct experiences, as well as some of our central office team that helps plan and support the school, as well as the wonderful principal of Southern High School. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction to introduce herself and the team.
Thank you, Dr. Arlotto. President Tobin, Vice President Silver, Dr. Arlotto, and members of the board. Good evening. I am Michelle Batten, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. I am joined by my colleagues and students who will introduce themselves.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Sackett. I'm the Coordinator of Career and Technical Education.
Angela Hopkins, Principal of Southern High School. Dr. Stacy Eccles, case teacher, Southern High School.
Ethan Schofield.
And Megan Arnold. We are students in the CASE program.
We are here to provide an overview of CASE, our curriculum for agricultural science education in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Following the presentation, we will answer any questions you may have and offer clarification about the content we have shared. Anne Arundel County has a rich history of agricultural farming. Since the creation of the county in 1650, farming has been a cornerstone industry, starting with tobacco and evolving into a mix of grains, vegetables, and plant nurseries. Today, Anne Arundel County has approximately 390 registered farms producing a range of agricultural goods. Certainly, farming and the diverse array of careers connected to it can continue to be career options for our students. Tonight, we will present how Anne Arundel County Public Schools is training its students for these careers through a curriculum for agricultural science education, commonly referred to as CASE.
CASE is an organization that was established in 2009 for the purposes of developing a national curriculum that supports careers in and related to the agricultural field. In the state of Maryland alone, CASE programs are implemented in 34 different high schools located in almost every county. The CASE curriculum is designed to train students in fields such as agricultural engineering and technicians, conservation scientists, farm management, horticulturalists, and many others. We brought CASE to Anne Arundel County in 2014, allowing students to take their 4 identified credits to graduate from high school with a career and technical education completer program on their transcripts. We currently have CASE programs at Southern High School and the Phoenix Academy. Soon we will have CASE at the Center of Applied Technology North. Anne Arundel County Public Schools currently offers 2 different CASE pathways, animal science and plant science. In the 23-24 school year, we will add CASE Natural Resources pathway to the Center of Applied Technology North. Each of these pathways starts with an introduction to agricultural, food, and natural resources and ends with a capstone research project. CASE develops their courses in coordination with the agricultural community and educators from around the country, using their input to keep the agriculture industry relevant and engaging for students. These honor levels courses help prepare students for careers in the agricultural field and, if they choose, a post-secondary education in agricultural science. CASE courses are designed to immerse students in a problem-solving environment where they're not only getting their hands dirty, but also learning about plant and animal anatomy and physiology, fundamentals of harvesting, the impacts of agriculture on the economy, soil testing, biotechnology, genetic modification, micropropagation, and other fundamental skills related to agricultural education. Learning is built around the scientific process and allows students to experience both lab environments and real-world applications. All of these skills are preparing them for careers in an expansive world of agriculture. Some students will go on to seek a post-secondary education, building on the foundational knowledge gained in their CASE classrooms. Some will continue to use what they've learned on their own family farm, while others will take their experience directly into the local or regional workforce.
Anne Arundel County Public Schools prides itself on preparing students to whatever comes after high school. The CASE program is no different. CASE, on a national level, has established articulation agreements with colleges and universities across the country who recognize the value of education these students are receiving. Students who pass the course or courses and their end of course assessments are eligible to earn anywhere from 3 to 15 credits with associated post-secondary schools. Students can go on to study fields such as agribusiness, animal science, conservation and wildlife management, crop sciences, food science, equine management, horticulture, and many more.
For each course in the CASE program, teachers benefit from a 2-week specialized training that prepares them to deliver an engaging curriculum. These trainings are hosted at universities across the country or completed virtually. CASE provides access to specific curricular material for both instruction and assessment upon completion. A teacher who teaches a complete CASE pathway, 4 different courses, will dedicate at least 8 weeks to training during their summers. This is a mandated requirement by the CASE organization. The CASE teachers in Anne Arundel County Public Schools vary in the number of summer trainings they have completed, but all are on pace to be completely CASE certified by the end of summer of 2023. Additionally, AACPS has provided collaborative planning opportunities for our 3 case teachers to work together. All 3 teachers came together for a full day of collaborative planning at the Phoenix Academy near the beginning of the school year that focused on sharing best practices and collaborating on engaging projects for students. We have encouraged the use of virtual meetings to continue their collaboration throughout the school year. I would like to recognize Dr. Stacy Eccles, case teacher at Southern High School, Sean Wingard, case teacher at the Phoenix Academy, Sarah Skinner, teacher at the Center of Applied Technology North. Additionally, I would like to recognize the Maryland Ag Ed Foundation, a key partner in the state for delivering agricultural education curriculum. They have provided curricular supports and opportunities for experiences outside the classroom for our students. Tonight, we have with us from Southern High School, Ms. Angie Hopkins, principal of Southern High School, and Dr. Stacy Eccles, case teacher and technology and engineering department chair, who will speak specifically about the amazing things happening in the CASE program at Southern High School. Ms. Angie Hopkins will now tell you more about the evolution of CASE at her school.
Good evening. My name is Angie Hopkins, and I'm the proud principal of Southern High School. I'm here tonight in demonstration of my support for my outstanding teacher, Dr. Stacy Eccles, and our students in the CASE program. Dr. Eccles is the 4th CASE teacher at Southern High School, has had since 2011 when we first started offering the CASE courses. The teacher turnover that we've had experienced has stymied the expected growth of the program, but now that we have been most fortunate to bring Dr. Eccles on board, the program continues to grow with potentially over 30 new students entering the CASE pathway next year. Dr. Eccles has been at Southern High School since 2018 and has served as the agricultural science lead teacher and now department chair for technology education. She has led the CASE program and serves as the advisor for Southern's Future Farmers of America organization. These programs exist before Dr. Eccles, but the extent to which she has revitalized the program is remarkable. I am proud to introduce Stacy Eccles, who will speak more about the program.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Stacy Eccles, and I have the privilege of being the CASE teacher at Southern High School. In our school, we have plant and animal pathways. The CASE curriculum engages students both in and outside of the traditional classroom environment. Our classroom for one day could be the lab, the greenhouse, a nearby farm, or any setting that allows us to make connections with agricultural education. Our students dive deep into content related to natural and social sciences, such as environmental science, agribusiness, natural resources, aquaculture, food science and safety, animal plant sciences, entrepreneurship, and many other areas. Ag education focuses on preparing future generations for the challenges of feeding a growing population. It is more than planting and harvesting. It is a science. I have worked hard to ensure that CASE classes support a naturally inclusive educational environment. I want all students to know that they can have a future in this industry, regardless of how much or how little they knew before they stepped into my classroom. We scaffold our instruction to meet the needs of students seeking state certifications, entering the agricultural workforce, or seeking post-secondary education. We build their foundation and their confidence through hands-on projects and experiential learning. This year, we have launched some exciting and rewarding projects. These include our school garden, where students grow, produce, and sell at the local farmers market, hatch and raise chickens, which will be donated to our local food bank, and we run a fundraiser selling wreaths and trees at Christmas time. Additionally, through collaborative planning with our administration, we planned a week of recognizing the National FFA Week and educating the school and community on the importance of agriculture and how it relates to feeding our population. Lastly, our CASE program benefits from a robust partnership with our Future Farmers of America program. This career and technical student organization, or CTSO, extends the curriculum taught in the CASE classroom and adds components of leadership and community citizenship. I would like to introduce you to Ethan Schofield and Megan Arnold, who will be speaking to you more about what they have gained from being a part of the FFA.
Good evening, I'm Ethan Schofield.
And I am Megan Arnold.
And we are excited to have the opportunity to share with you more about Southern High School's FFA organization. The official name of the organization is the National FFA Organization. The letters FFA stand for Future Farmers of America. These letters are a part of our history and our heritage that will never change. But FFA is not just for students who want to be production farmers. We're the future biologists, future chemists, future veterinarians, future engineers, and future entrepreneurs of America. FFA supports the CASE program by being one of three components of agriculture education. FFA prepares members for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education. FFA trains our members in career and leadership development events, including public speaking, employment skills, farm business management, food science, ag mechanics, horticulture, livestock and horse evaluation, land and home site evaluation, as well as many others.
Our program has a history of success and representation at state and national levels. We have trained and prepared a Maryland State FFA president. We have competed and won yearly with teams representing national career development in both food science and agricultural technology and mechanics. Last year, our food science team placed 13th nationally, and our agricultural mechanics team placed bronze. Our chapter had an economic impact locally and nationally, raising over $100,000 in 2021 alone, including over $56,000 in livestock projects. We have also been the recipient of 2 national FFA grants totaling $9,500. To exercise our leadership skills, we actively promote agricultural education in our community, raising awareness of the possibilities within Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
We benefit from a strong relationship with our community. Our students worked on a national FFA Living to Serve grant of $4,500, which allowed us to do landscape projects at the Anne Arundel County Fairgrounds last year. And most recently, we worked with our FFA alumni and Homestead Gardens to raise over $41,500 in relief for Kentucky tornado victims. To help build this program, I have started recruiting from Southern Middle School, conducting visits to classes, reaching out to our local 4-H clubs, and attending 8th grade scheduling nights and 9th grade orientation evenings. I'm confident this program will continue to grow at Southern High School, and we will continue to inspire tomorrow's agricultural leaders.
Thank you, Dr. Eccles. Southern High School has an exemplary program. As a system, we are extremely proud of what you and your students have accomplished inside the school and throughout the community. The plant and animal science CASE programs at the Phoenix Academy were established at the same time as Southern High School. While teacher turnover has similarly affected growth, they have found a superstar teacher in Mr. Sean Wingert. The students at Phoenix are drawn to his program for the engaging class activities and ability to complete hands-on learning. Mr. Wingert's students are currently working on projects like supplying Arlington Echo with the native Maryland plants for their butterfly garden, using hydroponics and aquaponics systems to grow fruit, vegetables, and leafy greens, and then supplying that food to the school's culinary arts program. There are ongoing plans for program expansion and improvement. In the 22-23 school year, the program intends to host the first annual Phoenix Academy Fall Fish Feast, using both tilapia and produce that students have grown, as well as hosting their first annual spring plant sale. Mr. Wingert and his students are thriving at the Phoenix Academy. We look forward to their continued success. The greenhouses at the Center of Applied Technology North are always humming with activity and growing some kind of tasty and nutritious food. Students can be found tending their plants in the greenhouse, raising their chickens, conducting some scientific soil analysis, or learning about environmental impacts of fertilizer. While the program at Cat North is not yet a CASE program, it is closely aligned in standards to the CASE Natural Resources pathway. Plans have been submitted to MSDE to transition to a magnet CASE CTE completer program in the 23-24 school year, increasing student access to post-secondary credit and other curricular resources. This pathway will integrate agriculture education through a lens of sustainability, drawing connections to the environment and future career opportunities. Students from many of our communities from across Anne Arundel County will be able to apply and enroll for the Cat North CASE program. Additionally, the program at Cat North is highly collaborative in its partnerships, working alongside the culinary arts and masonry programs. Students will use produce grown in the greenhouses and take it to the culinary program, where they will learn how to incorporate them into delicious recipes. They have also collaborated with the masonry program to identify some beautification projects for the Cat North campus. We look forward to their continued transition to a CASE program and all the opportunities it will bring for our students. In all three schools, agricultural education is enriching students' classroom experiences. They are engaging in experiential learning at its finest. We are proud of what the students accomplish with us and how they are prepared for whatever their next steps in life may be.
CASE is truly a part of the Southern High School fabric. We are delighted at the continued efforts of Mrs. Hopkins, Dr. Eccles, students, families, and community members to grow and enhance the CASE program at Southern High School. Thank you for your support of and interest in this important work. And at this time, we are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I see lights lighting up all over the place here. Okay, I believe the first light was Ms. Corkadell.
Thank you. Before I start with questions and comments, I feel compelled to say a couple of thank yous. Dr. McMahon and Dr. Arlato, thank you very much for listening to me and my request to get the board information, as well as your continued support of the programs themselves. And Ms. Batten and Dr. Eccles, et cetera, I could just keep on going. Thank you guys so very much. Thank you for hosting me over the years for all of your events. Thank you for the plants that I've had the fortune of putting into my garden. But most importantly, thank you for being such a vital part of our community. Agriculture may be quantitatively as how much land we're actually farming in this county in particular. Those numbers continue to go down, but the necessity and the value it has, I think, gone up. And so I believe that our school system should be always supporting the local economy, the local infrastructure, and the local community. And I think this hits every single bell and whistle on there, from the citizenship down to the educational values and everything in between. Dr. Ellis, Miss Ellis and I have had a chance to visit them over the summer, which is when that began. And I admittedly, was like, please come with me. Because why? Because this is a program a lot of people do not know about, but I want to thank Dr. Tobin, of course, for helping me get this on the agenda. And so I just want to say that, there's many partners in our community that have contributed over the years to it and contribute to the support of these students. I want to see this become a magnet program. I'd like to see it to be available. I have felt that way and supported those initiatives and those little baby steps over the years as I have been able to, and feel that I'm now even more in a better position to support you and make sure it's done well, so that we can have many years of success and put those years of stutter behind us, because I think we learned a lot and it allowed us to really grow. I do have a specific question, Ms. Batten. You guys had mentioned your MSDE application, and the word case and magnet was mentioned. It was mentioned during Cat North program. Southern and Phoenix have case, but not the magnet status. Is this application going to finally provide that, or are we leaping in Cat North? Or could you just kind of explain how that's working? Because I got to say that kind of, I'm pretty knowledgeable about this, but I was unaware of that stuff. So
Sure, absolutely. I'd be happy to answer that. So Cat North, as you know, serves 7 other high schools, making it a magnet site. So our application to MSDE is to apply and receive approval for the CASE program for natural resources, so that the teacher then will become certified in the CASE curriculum that is part of that program. And so that was our MSD application.
So why wouldn't Southern have a magnet application? Why have they not been considered for magnet?
So the current CASE program at Southern High School certainly is open to all students within the Southern feeder. The magnet component of that would be something we would have to explore and certainly talk about, as we move along. You made the comment about baby steps. We're certainly looking at growing our program at Southern High School, and Dr. Eccles and Ms. Hopkins has been very instrumental in the recruitment efforts in order to increase our enrollment there.
So what limits Southern from being a magnet location? Because we have it as far up north as Glen Burnie for the entire county. And so although Southern is south, it's actually, the high school is the least south of our southern feeder, just about. So could you explain that a little further?
So I will start, and then I'm going to invite Dr.
Okay.
McMahon to join us as far as the magnet component. That requires other components that we have to consider, with certainly transportation, as was mentioned earlier, with the buses, the budget implications that we certainly could take a look at in future budget enhancements and requirements. So that's something certainly to be explored down the road in future years.
Well, I think if the community knew what the steps were, and we kind of spell it out, and the board understands what those steps are and what we need to do to support and how they can further support, I think that's kind of where I'd like to be. And I think all of us hearing about that together is exactly how we do it, because I know Dr. McMahon's been working on this for a while now, as well as you guys. So I look forward to the share. Thank you,
Dr. Arlato.
Yes, so the magnet distinction is something at the local level. So it's not at the state level, it's the local level, in determining the programs and the schools that would be part of, and then the feeder patterns and those sorts of things. The curriculum then is something we then go to the state and is managed through our CTE office. So the decision is at the local level. The magnet programs that we have now were long in development and a 10-year build. We planned them out over time, built them over 10 years to implement them, and incorporated middle school programs and connected some of the elementary feeder programs into that build over a 10-year period, going from the high schools to the middle schools to the elementary schools. After we completed our 10-year build just prior to COVID, we took a break from building any more and adding any more magnet programs. That was a conscious decision that this superintendent made along with our team. And that was now to settle in and support the schools that we had just built, because we built magnet programs and signature programs at all the high schools during that same 10-year build. So then we took a step back, catch our breath, and let the teams now support the schools to make sure not only do we build a program, but now they're flourishing. We then began the conversation about what's the next step. And so we have had some sort of exploratory conversations around what might be some of the next magnet programs that we would add to our repertoire, to our programs of choice here in Anne Arundel County. COVID hit and we stopped those conversations for all the obvious reasons. So as we emerge from COVID, and I hope in the coming years, it won't be this superintendent that will do it, but I hope in coming years that your new superintendent and this team will look for, we continue to be forward thinking and not looking to add magnet programs one at a time. You should be adding magnet programs as part of a group, as part of a cluster, and that's very well thought out and planned. So my advice would be that the next superintendent, and with the support of this team, this brilliant team in the community, is that we look at what is best next. Should it be a magnet program in agriculture? There's been talk among you and some of your colleagues over time about maybe adding a magnet program in teacher education and growing our own, or possibly where some of our schools are flourishing, like the ag program, in computer science, which is clearly an industry that's a big deal here in Anne Arundel County. So I use those as examples that instead of looking to add magnet programs as one-offs, that we really think systematically about and engaging the public about what do the students want, how can the community support that really well, through internships, through externships for the staff, through apprenticeship programs, now part of the Kerwin build in the blueprint, where you have to think about that as well. That I hope into the future, that's where the program goes.
Dr. McMahon, did you?
It was perfect. That's exactly the plan. And I can only say that earlier it was mentioned sustainability, and that's a perfect word for our magnet programs. We have stood them up, and now we need to tend to them and get them to be sustainable into the future as we think about what to lift next.
Thank you. We have a lot of lights here, so I'm going to move on to Ms. Shaw.
I want to thank you all for your wonderful presentation. I personally didn't know much about the program, being camped out in District 5, which is nowhere near Southern High School, nor has a case program that I'm aware of. I don't think so, especially after this presentation, Phoenix Academy and you all, and then Cat North. Delighted to hear more about it from you all, and something I'm definitely willing to support and as a board member in whatever way is appropriate to see this program grow and flourish. And Ms. Corkadell basically asked my question for me, so I don't think I have a question. It was about, you know, the magnet application and then versus the school itself, and I also appreciated the explanation about, you know, what's next, and you know, one thing that wasn't mentioned also is, you know, junior ROTC too as a magnet, and that's been tossed around a bunch too over the years, and so it sounds like there's just so many wonderful opportunities for us to continue to support our students. And I'm personally an environmentalist. I try to live as green as I can, and I love what y'all are doing. And so any way I can support, just, you know, let me know. Thank you so much.
Thank
As
you.
I do Cat North and South.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis.
Thank you. Oh, goodness. So much I'd like to say. First of all, Ms. Corkadell, thank you for pushing to bring this, or for suggesting to bring this here. And especially thank you for inviting me to the FFA event. I am a better person from that one evening of my life, and I want to thank you all for welcoming me. I learned so much. I grew up a horse girl. Yeah, my dearly beloved horse passed away just a few years ago, but you know, I was not involved in the sort of agricultural food side of farming, but I learned so much in one evening from all of you, and I really, really appreciate that. And one of the most important things I learned, and I'm bad with numbers and memory, but was the numbers that I was given that evening about our economy and the size of the agriculture industry. Yet so many of us are so far from removed from how we receive our food, that my first question is, what do we have in our curriculum to give kids throughout the school system that sort of picture, an idea? I know we have some great things going on in various schools. I mean, Mr. Rizbicki has that amazing farm going on up at North County. But what do we have in our curriculum that really teaches kids about the importance and the size of this industry?
I will start off and then ask Mr. Sackett if he will join me in this response. I'm kind of skimming our program of study
Sorry
at
to
the
put you on the
moment
spot.
and looking for opportunities we have. And, you know, we certainly, as Dr. Olato mentioned, you know, through our signature programs where opportunities fit, we do certainly make those connections. At the elementary level, we certainly, where appropriate, incorporate it into perhaps our science and social studies. But, you know, I'd have to look that up and get back to you
No
on
need
that.
for an immediate response, but I would just really, just like parents are rightfully asking for more comprehensive financial literacy, I believe this topic is crucial to our future. And so, I mean, it can certainly be tied to health, but it's also tied to economy, and I would just love to see that education. So back to case. So my questions were around developing a magnet, and you know, I've spoken about our magnets a few times. I have a somewhat unpopular opinion that I believe we have such a demand for STEM, and we already have so many STEM magnets that to me indicates maybe a need for a different approach to STEM education, not necessarily magnets, perhaps, enhancing what we offer at each of our high schools in terms of STEM, and maybe high schools sharing teachers for the more specialized classes, opening the door for, because to me, magnets are really more specialized. Like we have our performing arts, we have IB, we have, what's it?
The biomedical.
Yeah, that's the one I'm trying to think of. And so now I've taken down a list of those that have been mentioned tonight. And these are the types of things that I really, truly believe warrant magnets. And certainly I will not only vote for a magnet, I will, and I'm far removed from districts, well, not true, but from the southern part of District 7. But anyway, I will advocate for you. I will do whatever I can to help in this process. I really want to see this take, again, being a horsey girl, I can appreciate that, our city kids know so little about this. And I'm sure some of them, once they did learn about it, would just be so excited to be able to get their hands dirty and do these kinds of things. So anyway, huge advocate, and I do want to continue this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Frank.
There's a whole series that I've seen on urban farming and growing in really tiny little spots that I think you're kind of dovetail with what you're saying. So thank you so much for the presentation tonight. It was awesome. And Ms. Arnold and Mr. Sherfield, I just want you to know, as you were speaking, a lot of the folks sitting next to you were just so clearly very proud. And as you were talking about your accomplishments and your accolades, I know the gentleman sitting next to you was just smiling, and they were clearly so excited to be in this process with you. So I'm so thankful to see it and to be able to see all your faces as this is happening. It's really very special. And I know you guys are over here, peeking around the podium too. So thank you so much for that. I echo my support. I would love to see this grow. I would love to see this in not just Southern High School. Pasadena has Hancock's resolution. I know some Chesapeake folks would love to have this. And I agree. I think there's certainly, some exposure that people would benefit from in all districts. I do have a question, a little delicate. You mentioned, sir, that you hatch and raise chickens to donate to food banks. Chickens or eggs? The actual chicken?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Do you raise the chicken or do you donate the egg or the chicken to the food bank?
So we are currently incubating eggs in our classroom.
Okay.
They will hatch the end of March. The chickens will then be raised in the classroom for another couple weeks before they're moved to the greenhouse chicken coop. And then we'll raise them till finishing weight. And then they will be processed for the food bank.
I was hoping it was the eggs.
Ms. Frank, don't name them.
I too raise chickens, and we do. We do name them, and it's one of those things. I would certainly support getting into the egg business.
So, Ms. Frank, the project needs an end. I don't work through the summer to be taking care of the chickens and the eggs, and there's no end with egg layers. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And just so you know, Dr. Eccles, we have gotten so many community feedback from this. We've gotten so much public comment, and your name was mentioned so many times that I feel like I know you. So I appreciate all the work that you clearly are doing in this.
Thank you.
And I'll just stop with the chicken and egg questions, I suppose. But it does actually lead into another question that I had. So you talk about you're having a fish fry, and you talk about the plants that have been donated. If somebody in the community is like, I love this program, I want to support it, where can I find the stuff that you guys are producing? Where could you go to find this? I know you mentioned Homestead Gardens, but how would you know where to find it?
So as we are raising produce out of our school garden, it will be for sale on Sundays at the Anne Arundel County Farmers Market. I am a small business owner myself with my husband. We raise mushrooms. And so my husband and I have incorporated Southern FFA's booth space into our business space, so that when there is product available, we share booth space.
Oh, I buy
Okay,
your,
very
I
cool.
buy your mushrooms. Thank you.
Maybe I'll do it too. Okay, that was the only question I had. So you do the farmers market. Where, like, if you go to Homestead Gardens, where could you find?
So Homestead doesn't have our
Oh,
products,
I'm
but they
sorry.
highly support us.
Oh, okay.
The owner of Homestead Gardens, Brian Riddle, supports our program phenomenally. And anything I need, I just need to
Oh,
ask.
that's awesome.
And so it truly is a wonderful relationship with Homestead Gardens.
Oh, that's great. And then, so the like the fish fry that you were discussing, where could somebody from the community, where could they go and partake of that if they were interested?
Well,
Or
I
is
believe
there
that
no-
the fish fry is an in-house product for Phoenix, the Phoenix
okay.
Academy.
Okay.
It's not open to the public as of yet. But I know that Mr. Wingard is working on many projects with local community activist groups to try and bring some of the things that the students produce out into the community. Right now, they currently support Arlington Echo and a lot of the revitalizing efforts. They produce plants for them. And similarly, Cat North has similar connections with the community and businesses where they do a lot of work with bringing in business partners to talk to the students and then taking the students out to their businesses. The specifics of which I don't have all of those details because it's a long list of programs to keep track of. But Dr. Eccles is right that having those business partners is a vital component of all of our CTE programs. And she's a perfect example of how we have maximized that effort in education for our students.
No, I love that, and I would love to see this grow and kind of continue, and especially if we have it in more schools at some point. You know, we could really feed people. I think it's a great initiative. So thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
Thank you. And I foresee a Sunday market field trip for the board. Mr. Silver.
Thank you, President Tobin. I have a few comments and a couple questions, and I have to say, Mr. Wiersbicky was mentioned. If you know Mr. Wiersbicky, and hope many of you do, he's one of our young teachers at North County. And I was doing a directed reading activity some years ago in a French 3 class, and it happened to be about worms and their use in agriculture. One of the students came to me and said, Mr. Wiersbicky has these. And I said, what? I didn't expect that. And I went to talk to Mr. Wiersbicky. Sure enough, he did. He had them, brought them to class, and we had a pretty good lesson about that. Shout out for Mr. Wiersbicky. It's not something he teaches. It's something that he does for the kids at North County High School. And Ms. Frank talked about that there's you can make a case for case in every cluster. And I think you absolutely can make a case for case. A little bit of history. So I learned a little bit today. Didn't know that there were 390 farms. I didn't know that. But what I did know, because I taught at Southern Middle for 2 years, my first 2 years, I was a Southerner. What I did know, that as I drove from Baltimore Highlands all the way down to Southern every day, I drove by mostly tobacco, which thank goodness is no longer the case. And there's so many other things that have happened. The case is truly a project-based learning, and I want to thank each and every one of you. The success of the program is clearly based upon the great teachers, students, and families that we have. And that's true of everyone. So I did have a couple questions. You mentioned some connections with some colleges. I didn't hear Anne Arundel Community, and I was wondering if there's a possibility for that, because that just seems like it would be a natural. And the second one is, how positioned are we really? Because I too would like to see this program grow. How positioned are we in terms of having case-ready teachers? And I have one final comment that I will make after, if I can get an answer about that. Maybe Dr. Eccles?
On the case-ready teachers
Yes.
portion, there are many universities across this country that are training agricultural students, pre-service teachers in the CASE program. So they are coming out of college pre-certified. That list is available on the National Association of Ag Educators website. And those students pretty much have a job lined up when they're done. So it would be a recruitment effort if we were to add additional case teachers. The state of Maryland has several high school graduates that are currently in programs to become agricultural educators. The University of Maryland, College Park has a ag education bachelor's program. So there's definitely educators out there. It just would take some footwork to get there.
Okay, thank you. Well, the success of this program is definitely going to be based upon an awareness. And so there is an increased awareness. Hopefully this will increase the awareness about this marvelous program. I clearly would love to be invited to the fish fry.
I'll see what I can do, Mr. Silkworth.
And
if he's
you
going
talked
out-
about eggs and chickens. I didn't hear anything about turkeys. I'm a turkey guy.
All right, well.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Silkworth, we do have students raising turkeys for the livestock project for the fair. So you can participate in the fair auction and
Thank
purchase
you.
a turkey for your Thanksgiving dinner.
I can tell you that I have been called. But thank you.
Ms. Omasori.
So I just wanted to say that first, just like, well, I'm not going to clap because the mic is right here, but if I could clap, I would say, giving all of you a round of applause. This was a beautiful presentation. And I knew of Southern's FFA club, not from visiting Southern, not from just being on the board, but actually hearing from my friends across the country who compete in FFA, and they know Southern, and from that they know ACPS. And so you all are a wonderful treasure, not only to South County, as Ms. Corkadell by her smile is showing, but to our entire school system through everything that you learn and do, and you're representing us really well. So for that, I would just say I'm in complete support of the case and improving this program. And I actually was one of the colleagues that Dr. Arlotto referred to when he said about making this a magnet program. I actually talked about this at one of my meetings with him. And he said a lot of reasons that came up in our meeting, but one that he didn't mention here was interest. We know that this is very popular in South County. We know that there are many people who work on family farms, want to go into food science and agriculture. But if I'm talking to some kid in Glen Burnie, if I'm talking to some kid in Gambrills where I live, that might not trans over well, even though I know that many of us want to see this program grow. And so I'm surprised no one asked this by now, but a question I would have is for a kid that, like me, let's assume I'm a random freshman. I don't live in the Southern cluster, but I am interested in food science. I am interested in stuff like FFA. I am interested in what you all have done so well, but I don't go to a school that has these types of opportunities, or I'm not in Cat North. What would be your advice? This is questions to all of you, but this is really a question to the students. What would be your advice to those students who don't go to school in the Southern cluster, but want to be involved in the things you all have done so well?
My answer to you and to those students is to advocate for ag education and a magnet program, because that is what we so obviously need. I can name students off the top of my head. I won't. I don't think it's allowed. But I can name a student from Broadneck. I can name students from Severna Park. I can name students from South River. I can name students out of this county who are having similar issues in their own home counties. Same issue in other states. But I can name students here, and I can give a list of students here, and we can show emails and text messages from students within our county who want to come to our school because they want to be in our program.
Okay.
I agree very much with Ethan that as of now, there is a very large body of kids who would be interested in being a part of the CASE program. But in terms of getting more kids interested in it that are not currently aware of the program, a lot of it has been word of mouth. For me, joining FFA and getting involved in these classes was word of mouth. And a lot of us, especially now with the digital presence we have, know kids from other parts of the county and other parts of the area that are not part of the Southern cluster or not as close with that group, and reaching out to other people and making them aware of the program and telling them to go speak to their friends and the people that they know to bring them in is a very large part of getting a body involved in the CASE program.
Well, thank you all for what you've done. I didn't know about this until this year when I talked to my friends about FFA. And so maybe in a different world where Boomy goes to Southern High School, she'd be doing exactly this because this sounds incredible. And I hope that, of course, I agree with Dr. Lotto's sentiment. We got to kind of figure out how to really ride this bike that we have of magnet programs before we start adding new ones. I really hope that in the very, very close future, we can have exactly what you've talked about, more ag ed across our county and become even a bigger powerhouse than you all have created us across the nation when it comes to this entire industry. So thank you so much for all the work you have done, but mostly to the students because you guys are biased. So
Thank you. Ms. Dent.
This is actually a full circle. So I went to high school in Melville, Alabama, and I got a scholarship, which is why I joined the Army, to go to University of Alabama to be an agricultural specialist. And I was raised on a farm, and I asked them, you don't seriously think I'm going to go to school for 4 years to learn how to plant, because I live on a farm. But in hindsight, I didn't know exactly what I turned down. And this right here is so important for the students to not only hear my story, but bring it full circle. So now I am a big climate nut. I'm a big plant advocate. And with the entire world going toward plant-based food and everything else, you all are growing a talent that I suspect that next year they'll be picketing out if Dr. Arlotto or his predecessor does not, or his successor does not create this into a magnet program, because it's growing. It's a big growing business. So that was the second part. The third question I had, and I did not find it in my notes, and I still can't find it, is you said in 2023 and 2024, you were adding additional curriculum. Can you just expound on that just a tad bit for me?
Yes, ma'am. So CASE has 4 different program offerings. We currently run 2 of them in the county at the same programs at Southern and Phoenix. The natural resources pathway is the one we are adding to the Center of Applied Technology North because it closely aligns with the program it's replacing, which is environmental resource management. The teacher there is transitioning to a CASE program. She's been to CASE training already and will hopefully finish up at the end of next summer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I think all the other lights are old lights, or is there? Okay. And you have another, okay. Ms. Corkadell?
So I thought it may be when Miss Ellis and I were, and on numerous occasions, I wouldn't know which story to pick first of what I've heard from our students that is inspirational. So if President Tobin, you wouldn't mind letting me indulge here for a minute, I thought it may be appropriate for you guys to share maybe one of your best moments or one of your most memorable educational, you don't have to go too into the educational, but just that story of connectivity, because you know we hear from so many other career paths about this happening and that happening, and you guys placing, to be clear, these folks are placing bronze compared to the school districts that do have full magnet and fully enhanced, like on steroids, and these guys are competing. And not just competing, we're talking about 13th in the nation, winning bronze in some of these specific activities. Never more a proud moment next to the Eagle Courts that I attend of recognizing our students. And so I thought maybe we could conclude on hearing from our students about just that one memorable moment of why you would just are giving the support that you are and recognizing the outcomes.
So I'm going to be a little bit biased with leaning on FFA for this because, as we mentioned, it is very much so a part of the CASE program at Southern. But being a part of this program has really shaped the entire path of where I plan on going with my future and with my career. It has shaped the social group that I have, and the advice and the mentorship that I've gotten from Dr. Eccles has put me on the path of where I want to go in my career. Ironically, I'm not looking directly at agriculture in this instance, but looking more environmentally, possibly with geology. But that's something I would never have considered without this program. The colleges that I'm looking at going to and the places I'm getting my further education, I would not have known about without Stacey Eccles and this program. And the competition events that I've had the opportunity to be a part of have taught me self-discipline in studying and learning content that I would not have known how to do otherwise, and has given me so many opportunities and experiences to go out and to meet people such as right now here. It's not an everyday thing to go to the Board of Ed meeting or go to a Board of Ed meeting as a 17-year-old and get to speak to all of you. And that has grown me as a person in a way that I am incredibly thankful for and always will be.
You ask for like one story or one instance or something, but the truth of it is there's thousands of stories from multiple different trips and millions of experiences that have all kind of rolled up into this moment here. If you guys look at my disciplinary record freshman year, like please don't, but it wasn't the greatest. I didn't know where my future was going. I don't know if anybody else did, but now my future is college. My future is something to be proud of because of the moments moments I've experienced and lived through the CASE program and the FFA organization, through the family that it's provided outside of my own household, through, we went to Kentucky and raised so much, over $40,000 that we put into a community for people that we didn't even know. But they opened their homes and they fed us, and that was enough, I think. But 3 years ago, that wouldn't be me. I think 3 years ago, that wouldn't have been a lot of the kids who went on that trip. Everybody's a great person now, and everybody was a great person then, but now we're doing so much that as 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds, that's something you do when you're 30. We're living these experiences, we're getting this education, and we're living lives that aren't like anything else our peers are living, and we're better for it. And I think that I just wish everybody had that opportunity to grow in a field that they want to be in. I think that's it. One last thing. I'm sorry. And at the end of the day, that doesn't come from just me or an organization. It comes from the leadership and the mentorship from Dr. Eccles, from Ms. Hopkins, from my parents supporting me, from the support of parents of my peers, and from the support of our alumni's parents and our alumni member itself. I get text messages, Ethan, we're so proud of you, but it really is them and it is you guys who allow us to have this opportunity. So thank you all.
Thank you. Ms. Shaw.
And that would be our why. Wow. Thank you for sharing it. You both of you students inspire me. Thank you for sharing your story. I had a question. Tough act to follow. Dang. I had a question about something that was mentioned, I think, in public testimony about a switch in rules from the out of area transfer. I think the date was 2018. Can someone explain that and why we don't allow that anymore? Because I think we have other programs that you can, as long as you can arrange the busing, you can, or as long as you can arrange the transportation, you can do so. Please help me understand, Dr. Arlotto.
I'll check into it.
Okay.
I made a note. I don't know what the change was in 2018 around transfers.
Okay.
I'll find out.
Yeah, because if that, if that could be a step towards, and as a way to grow it back, then let's look into that like we do. I think, I think junior ROTC is set up that way right now, where it's not a magnet, but you can go if you do your transportation. So I guess that's the next step. It's the ask the why we can't do it like that for case at Southern to start with and see where we head. Thank you. And thank you to you too for being here and addressing us. This room we see a lot of this room, and we forget how other people perceive coming and speaking to us. And trust me when I say the honor is ours to hear from both of you. So thank you for being here and sharing your stories.
Thank you. Ms. Frank, did you have another question? Okay. Okay, well, this has been a magnificent presentation. Thank you. This is a subject near and dear to my heart. I was very grateful when Ms. Corkadell brought it forward as a topic, and I think it's been tremendously valuable to all of us to hear more. I knew about it. I knew how fabulous the FFA program is at Southern and that there was a case program, but beyond that, I didn't know a whole lot. And I know a little bit about the Phoenix program. And yes, I will be looking for my invitation to the fish night. So I think you mentioned expeditionary learning as part of the structure. And I do happen to think this kind of work is actually really what project-based learning is supposed to be. I mean, in other words, these aren't made-up projects, right? This is what it takes to make sure the animal keeps living, to make sure the water is pure for the plants, to make sure all of those things. And I think it lines up extraordinarily well with my understanding of the pedagogical leanings of the blueprint in so many ways, not just the career and college readiness, but the real pedagogy of it. But to that point, I'm curious about whether there's any thought to, if we were to explore through a sort of master plan of magnets, what this might look like, or if it would be considered for a middle school magnet program, because it seems to me developmentally, from all that I'm aware of, this is exactly the sort of hands-on work that middle school students really are set up developmentally in many ways to do. So that's a question. I don't know if anybody's considered that, if it's something that would be ever on the table. I mean, all of this, I realize, is hypothetical at this point, but.
As we have built the magnet programs, and I referenced it earlier, and you're well aware that each of those programs have, for the most part, a feeder system, a way of introducing it at a younger grade. It could be at the elementary level with our IB programs, with our PYP, which grows into the middle years program, the MYP at the middle school, and then the diploma program at the high school. The same is true with STEM and PVA, where we have built the programs, as I mentioned earlier, at the high school level, and then thoughtfully built those into the middle school level so that you would create that interest and that pipeline into the high schools.
And also just a sort of practical question. It was noted in the presentation that you're looking at possibly 30 students entering the CASE program next year. So give me a sense of how many students are in the program as of now.
So 30 would double it.
Okay. So we're looking at 30 now, 30 next year, and okay. So that gives a good sense of sort of the numbers that we're looking at. But I think that's terrific. So, well, I think it's safe to say you have made our night. We are delighted to have met both of you who came here to spend time with us, and it's been a particular joy to watch your parents over your shoulder.
Where's the tissues?
Those of us who are parents can relate to, but you should be very proud. And all of you should be very proud. This is a delight. This is also heartening at a time when there's some disheartening things going on in the world to see what the future looks like. So thank you, all of you. And we're grateful, as Ms. Scholheim said, the honor is ours, and we're deeply grateful that you took the time to be with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm supposed to follow that with item 5.01, the president's report. The only report I'm going to deliver as part of the president's report tonight is actually a report from the Superintendent Search Committee on behalf of Ms. Frank, the chair, and the members, Ms. Dent, Ms. Scholheim, and Ms. Ellis. And here's a summary of their latest work. And again, my deep thanks to all of them for the work that they are doing. The committee continues to meet as needed. The community survey went out on March 7th and will close on March 21st. The survey does not encompass every AACPS issue. This was intended just to be one piece of the information that will be gathered and will be supplemented with the system-wide and district stakeholder group interviews. Those three pieces together will create the entire leadership profile report, which will include the results of the survey. A press release with updated information was sent out Saturday and posted to the website. Our search consultant created the survey to be research-based and to ensure personnel matters were not included or discussed so that the results could be made public. The stakeholder groups will be released at the end of the week after the interviews have been conducted. So that's the report for tonight. Item 5.02, Equity Committee report.
Thank you, Dr. Tobin. So we've met and we've been working a lot for this upcoming military student panel. And so there's been a bit of a change since the last time I was able to give a report. So originally we stated that if there was an in-person option, we were going to do it at Arundel High School, as it's kind of at the epicenter for the county and especially for those affiliated with the military. But instead, in order to provide not only an in-person option, but a virtual option as well, we decided to host it at the boardroom. So this date is still the same, April 5th. And so far we have chosen those who will be in our panel. 9 students from across AACPS, across grades 6 through 12. And I'm very, very excited to see what they have to say. But besides having the first half of the panel be about their experiences, we're also offering the second half to give a mic really to those who work in the military community and work with military students. So that goes for liaisons, that goes for recruiters, that goes for a host of others who could be of help not only to the students on our panel, but to military students and their families across AACPS as well. So it'll be in person and it can also be viewed online through our YouTube channel. And I'm just really excited to see how it materializes. And besides this, we're also going to be using it to promote the late Miss C.W. Antoine's award, because I know there are a lot of students out there who want to go into the military and know it isn't cheap. So I'm really excited for the upcoming month of the military child, especially the 5th, and I would implore anyone watching to please tune in.
Thank you. And yes, that's going to be an exciting event. Item 5.03, Budget Committee Report. Ms. Schulheim.
Thank you. Before I get into that, what time is the April 5th?
It's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. All right. Thank you. All right, thank you. So the Budget Committee met on Monday, March 14th at noon. We debriefed on the recently completed budget amendment and approval process. I appreciate all of the feedback as we work to continually improve collaboration between the board and the superintendent and staff, as well as transparency, and accountability. In addition, the committee received an update regarding pending legislation that this board hopes will improve the blueprint for Maryland's future, including adding key school-based Unit 1 staff to the list of employees eligible for NBCT, but obviously all that remains in the air. Lastly, some rotten news. As you may have seen in the news, the U.S. Congress opted not to continue free meals for all students past June 30th, 2022. As you will recall, students have been provided with free meals since the beginning of the pandemic. This hard stop is particularly burdensome to our school community and to our budget. We would have preferred a phase out period as opposed to a hard stop. Hope is not yet lost, and a lot of advocacy and legislative energy at all levels of government, including this board and MABE, are currently in place to find another solution via an extension or glide path rather than a hard stop. And I encourage members to use their lobbying skills so we can properly support students this summer adequately plan for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5.04, the CRASC report.
Say it like it's so exciting. You get to be excited for it.
But it is.
I thank you. Good evening, President Tobin, Vice President Soakworth, members of the board, and Dr. Olato. My name is Fletcher Port. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a senior at Severna Park High School, and I have the privilege of serving as CRASC Secretary of Education for the 2021 to 2022 school year. Since our last report, CRASC hosted a SMOB information night and 2 campaign clinics. Students heard from the current SMOB, Ms. Omisore, took part in platform development and speech writing activities. Nominations were due today at 4 p.m. Be on the lookout for a news release from the AACPS Communications Office tomorrow regarding this year's nominees. Nominees must submit their application materials by Tuesday, March 22nd. Recently, CRASC had 2 unexpected vacancies, and we were thrilled to appoint and swear in Carl Capelli, a sophomore at Meade High School, as an equity liaison, and Jenna Pratt, a sophomore at Chesapeake High School, as our wellness liaison. We're proud to have them on the team. On Wednesday, March 9th, the Superintendent Teen Advisory met at Severna Park High School. After a presentation by Fletcher Port and Bella Ortiz, seniors from Severna Park High School, the team discussed the implementation of the mask optional policy. Students shared that it is wonderful to see the faces of their classmates and that people were respectful of individual choices to wear a mask or not. They also had lots of great AACPS awesome news about the happenings at our high schools. On Saturday, March 12th, the Maryland Association of Student Councils hosted its annual Women's Leadership Forum with inspirational panelists and informative breakouts that discussed women in leadership. Let's Talk Justice hosted its first session of This Book is Anti-Racist middle school book study on March 14th. They welcomed almost 40 students from all over ACPS. 2 more sessions are scheduled for March 21st and 28th. Let's Talk Justice is excited to partner with Kindness Grows Here, and South County is kind to provide this opportunity to our students. The AACPS Pride Alliance will host its next meeting on March 21st at North County High School. The CRASC Legislative Committee will be in attendance, providing a presentation on the current Maryland General Assembly bills and how to advocate for the rights of LGBTQ+ students. We are hopeful that many will attend and learn more about the legislative process. On March 23rd, CRASC will host its first general meeting of the year hybrid. We are extremely excited to see students face to face and start our in-person return to meetings. MASC will host part 1 of their spring convention on March 26th. At this event, student delegates will have the opportunity to vote for MASC officers, Students who are interested in attending should talk to their student government advisor. The AACPS survey regarding the superintendent search has been published. Please complete the survey by Monday, March 21st at 4 p.m. CRASC recommends that all people consider possible candidates for this position and, if interested, recommend them for this role. For a schedule of CRASC and Let's Talk Justice events, please visit their respective web pages. Thank you for the opportunity to give you the update about what's been happening in CRASC.
Thank you, Mr. Port. And it was very exciting. Item 5.05, CAC report.
Good evening, President Tobin, Vice President Silkworth, fellow board members, and Dr. Arlotto. For the record, my name is Tanisha Howard, the chair of the Citizen Advisory Committee, otherwise known as the CAC. On behalf of the CAC body, I am pleased to have the opportunity to share with board members our recent activities. For the public, our CAC conducts our meetings virtually on the second Monday of each month from 6:45 to 8:45 p.m. Our meeting schedule is currently posted on our AACPS CAC webpage, which is located under the board tab on the AACPS website. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is May 9th. Yes, we do have a break for spring break next month. We held our last meeting virtually this past Monday, March 14th. For our Perspectives and Impact Focus series, it's a new initiative this year celebrating the legacy of the late Honorable Candace C.W. Antwine to embrace, embody, and celebrate all of AACPS's diversity in a more cohesive and empathetic community. The All Means All driving value for this month featured the March, the Nutrition Month, a timely presentation by Leah Paley, CEO of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. Her discussions shed light on food insecurity, the impact of COVID-19, and other initiatives on their organization's ability to meet the needs of our community to provide healthy, fresh food. Furthermore, the concept of food deserts, which identifies 17 areas within Anne Arundel County, was examined, coupled with terminology to distinguish between ALICE, which is the Asset Limited, Income Constrained Employee Families, and the federal poverty level. The CAC gained further understanding of the reality of a living wage versus a poverty wage and a minimum wage on a household with no children to 3 or more children. Their organization made significant outreach during COVID and continues today assisting the needs of 5 times the number of households prior to the pandemic. Some key highlights in their efforts to promote nutrition and reduce food insecurity. 52% of residents receiving their services this past year were seeking help for the first time. They distributed $7.1 million worth of food and basic necessities. They fed 62,500 people on average each month. They distributed 5.8 million pounds of food, of which 1.2 million was fresh produce. And most of it came from locally sourced farms. They do have commitment to have locations for access within the areas of the food deserts for high impact. Our members learned of all the efforts students and schools did within our clusters to amplify and support the Anne Arundel County Public Schools and the 21st Century Education Foundation Harvest for the Hungry campaign, which in the 2021-2022 campaign season raised $92,940 specifically for our Anne Arundel County Food Bank, which serves our community. So all of our dollars and all of our efforts went to our community. And that was just, I was extremely proud and just shocked at the total dollars. These partnerships and our ability to lean into our respective clusters to amplify experiences and others' journeys aims to collectively improve our school system, its policies, and our communities, foster awareness, and encourage participation, and overall empower our communities. We are pleased to have had public comment and remain connected to our community we serve in support of the Board of Education. We heard of recent incidents, while not system-wide, still documents the journey we collectively must participate to impact vulnerable populations and the repercussions on victims, bystanders, and the community at large. We see a future where all our students will graduate as caring global citizens with tolerance for diverse backgrounds, experiences for a safe, healthy, growing environment that fosters nurturing of the whole person. The enrichment of working collaboratively can allow us to find innovative approaches to expand the AACPS community's sensitivity to issues of hate and bias in a move to eradicate incidences within the school environment. The conversation demonstrated the many perspectives where lived experiences do not reach all. We must remain open to hear and learn and thus expand our understanding, which challenges our comfort zones, challenges our thoughts, and it challenges our way of life. It is not easy, and the CAC Hate and Bias Special Advisory Subcommittee recognizes its work in this area to seek to elevate the issue and accompanying behaviors of microaggression, micro insults, and micro invalidations with also bullying and intimidation. Every student should be and feel safe at school. Differences make us exceptional. Sharing this information tonight is to make aware, not to finger point. We endeavor to be a devoted partner of the Board of Education to build solutions through our collaborative community and stakeholder engagements to ensure policy impacts all perspectives. Since the CAC does not have a regular meeting in March, and on behalf of our military representative, Nelson Villalobos, we are excited to see the efforts of AACPS to include and acknowledge the month of the military child, which is next month. It is important to recognize these students within our communities. We look forward to all the support to our military families in the future. The CAC cluster members will continue to share the military resources to celebrate the month of the military child within our clusters. We encourage all military students to be, we encourage all our military students to be supported and throughout their matriculation. And pleased, now there is the Candace C.W. Antwine Service Award. The CAC also is still working on several subcommittee work. The CAC subcommittees for student attire and personal appearance, hate and bias, ready to read, early literacy, and wellness lens subcommittees are continuing to undertake the necessary work for drafting final reports and presentations for the end of the year submissions. Thank you for your continued support of the CAC. We look forward to working with you, and I know our group is poised with its talented, passionate, and dedicated members to deliver the assistance you require of us to achieve all the overall goals and address the challenges at hand and into the future. We thank you, and if there's any questions, we're here.
No, thank you very, very much, Ms. Howard, and thank you again for all the excellent work that you are overseeing with the CAC. It is much appreciated. Okay. Item 5.06, Superintendent's Report, School Operations. Dr. Arlotto.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I've got just some brief update for you this evening. Currently, we have 36 active student cases of COVID and 6 active staff cases. Case rate in Anne Arundel County as of yesterday was 5.4, and the positivity rate was 2.23%. Unless the number of active cases or case rate changes significantly in the future, I will cease reporting this data during the operations updates. The AACPS COVID dashboard will continue to be updated daily. As you're aware, we implemented a COVID testing program for those employees that are not vaccinated or chose not to disclose their vaccination status. This program was very successful as we were able to identify asymptomatic COVID positive employees, have them isolate, thus protecting their colleagues and students from potential spread or exposure. Given the current case rate and positivity rates in Anne Arundel County, we will cease this testing program, with the last testing day being April 8th. Our struggles to hire qualified bus drivers continues, and we continue to work with our bus contractors daily to look for solutions. Anne Arundel Community College is continuing to partner with the Anne Arundel Workforce Development Corporation, AACPS, and the Department of Public Works to host a series of information nights and learners permit preparatory sessions for individuals interested in pursuing a commercial driver's license or CDL. There is one information session remaining, and that is this Thursday, tomorrow, the 17th at 10 a.m. The purpose is to learn more about CDL training opportunities and to go over the steps to become a CDL-B license holder. Registration is open via the Anne Arundel County Workforce Development Corporation's website. AAWC, in partnership with the Anne Arundel County government and AACPS, delivered the second round of recruitment and retention bonuses to the contracted school bus drivers and aides during the first 2 weeks of March. This is the second of 3 rounds of previously approved federally funded recruitment and retention bonuses issued by AAWDC, with the final round anticipated in late June of 2022. The Anne Arundel County Workforce Development Corporation, in partnership with AACPS, will be hosting an in-person hiring event on Wednesday, March 30th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at North County High School that will prominently feature AACPS as a recruiter of varied positions and a number of school bus contractors looking to fill the positions that they have open. Registration is free and open via the AAWDC website. We continue to work collaboratively, as I stated earlier, with our bus contractors and other partners to identify and hire qualified drivers. I'm very sorry for the inconsistencies in routes throughout the year and subsequent difficulties this has presented to students and their families. We are very appreciative of the tremendous efforts our families have made to get their children to and from school each day throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arlato. I don't see any lights. All right, well, I think that's one of the shorter updates we've had in a while, so thank you for that. And okay, we will move on now to Section 6, consent items.
Motion to bundle.
All right. Okay, we have a motion to bundle and a second. Consensus? Okay. Dr. Arlato.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President. I recommend that the Board of Education authorize the award of contracts as listed on today's agenda, 6.01 through 6.06. Bless you.
So moved.
Okay. Seeing no questions, Ms. Howell?
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank?
Aye.
Ms. Ellis?
Aye.
Ms. Corkadow?
Aye.
Ms. Schallheim?
Aye.
Ms. Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Omasori?
Aye.
Dr. Tobin?
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Section 7, item 7.01, administrative personnel appointments. Dr. Arlago.
Thank you, Madam President. I recommend that the personnel listed on the attached sheet be promoted and or appointed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Howe?
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank?
Aye.
Ms. Ellis?
Aye.
Ms. Corkadell?
Aye.
Ms. Schallheim?
Aye.
Ms. Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Omasori?
Aye.
Dr. Tobin?
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item 7.02, items of legislation. Good evening, Ms. Ortiz.
Good evening. For the record, Jeanette Ortiz, Legislative and Policy Council. So we have a very short packet. Yay! Believe it or not, I'm still introducing bills past the deadline. Before you have items of legislation, and just as a friendly reminder, Section 1 is something, bills that the board would need to vote on, which we have none. Section 2 are no position bills, and Section 3 are bills that are aligned with the board's already adopted positions in the board's legislative program. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no lights. Okay.
All right. Moving right along.
All right. Item 7.03, sustainability plan, code EJA, first reading.
So we have policy, again, Jeanette Ortiz for the record, Legislative and Policy Council.
Good evening, and Alex Shacknose, Chief Operating Officer for the school district.
So before you is policy EJA Sustainability Plan on first reading. This policy was last updated on September 25th, 2013. It has been amended to align with new requirements established under new state law, which requires a board policy to include certain information regarding energy, including conservation and efficiency. And stylistic revisions were also made. This policy will be on the ACPS website for a 30-day public comment period. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Ms. Schulheim.
Hi, thank you. This isn't, I think this is more for Mr. Shaknovich than Ms. Ortiz. So how would this policy, when adopted, because it will be adopted in some form, how will it affect our views on solar, and will this speed up hopefully our implementation of that on rooftops?
So Alex Shacknose, Chief Operating Officer. For the record, it's really a two-step process in the state's viewpoint. So this requires Board of Education's essentially to establish, as Ms. Ortiz said, a sustainability policy that aligns with the state's sort of vision in terms of sustainability. There was a work group at the state. We were one of the few jurisdictions that were invited to participate in that. We shared the model policies and sort of best practices from amongst the jurisdictions, and the State Department of General Services and the Maryland State Department of Energy weighed in and essentially guided the revisions that not only us, but the other 24 jurisdictions needed to do. The reason I'm saying it's a two-step process is because following right behind that, as you know, the state of Maryland currently is weighing a number of sustainability and energy efficiency initiatives. There's various versions, but they're hammering out the details. This is essentially the policy glide path that then makes way for the prescriptive requirements that likely will follow out of that subsequent piece of legislation. So this is intentionally light because the prescriptive requirements are going to come in the companion piece of legislation. Ms. Ortiz?
Yeah, no, Mr. Shaknovich is exactly right. And so I'm sure some of you are aware of the Climate Solutions Now Act. I think I got the name correct. And so that actually passed out of the Senate Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee on second reading with amendments. And so it was heavily amended, and it does, we had some concerns with some of the requirements in the bill, and some of those concerns have been addressed. But to your point about solar panels, there was a provision in that proposed legislation which speaks to solar panels and encouraging schools in the building of new construction to consider installing solar panels, and if they're unable to, they would, explain why to the Interagency Commission on School Construction. Of course, it's just on the Senate side, and the House has a different bill trying to accomplish sort of the same sort of conservation and climate measures, but in a different way. So, still to be seen what ends up passing, if anything at all.
But I will add that we are in essence ahead of the body of the work. One of the requirements would require that public school buildings within a state of Maryland be constructed to be solar ready. That is both structurally as well as the infrastructure, the energy collection and distribution system. That's already part of the ed specs and part of the designs that we are currently producing. So, we're basically trying to stay ahead of the train that's coming down the pike in the buildings that we're already producing. You're going to see some more ed specs coming before the board here next month in all likelihood. And again, all of that is anticipatory to line us up both budgetarily and strategically for the adoption of the prescriptive requirements.
Great, thank you. Yes, and obviously, been a fan. Rattled off the word solar more than any other word I've used in this this room, and so obviously, I hope that it has a positive impact on what we're doing, and not just for our new buildings, but hopefully for existing structures as well. There's just a lot of real estate we could cover, and so I will always advocate for that, even if it's interjecting it into the first reading of a similarly natured policy. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I see no other lights on this.
Thank you.
Item 7.04, pregnant and parenting students, code JS.
So yes, policy JS, pregnant and parenting students, is also before you on first reading. This is a new policy that was developed to align with new state law requirements as well as MSDE model policy language. And so prior to any of you being on the board in 2017, there was legislation that provided lawful absences for certain circumstances for pregnant and parenting students. And there have been kind of a movement in the General Assembly, for schools and school systems to better support the educational needs and opportunities of pregnant and parenting students. And so this was actually, I think it was a 2019 law, but we were waiting for the model policy, and MSD has been cranking them out since they got a new state superintendent. They've been very busy getting out these model policies. But anyway, this policy is to align with those state law requirements. And so it will be on the ACPS website for a 30-day public comment period, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Corkadell.
Not a question. I just wanted to thank Ms. Ellis and my fellow colleagues for the budget proposal that we have moved forward to the council. And although it has nothing to do with the policy per se, I kind of think it does, because it is another way of demonstrating our support for everyone in our community and to meet all our students' needs. Thank you.
I did want to point out one small thing, because it, as Mr. Shaknovich said, with the sustainability plan policy, where we've been ahead of the curve. Similarly with this, even though we didn't have a policy in place, ACPS has a lactation accommodations policy and has lactation accommodations in all of our buildings. And we actually received an award a few years ago for being the only school system in the DMV area with something written in policy and regulation. And so we are already equipped to, meet the requirements in the law.
Great, thank you. Ms. Frank.
Yes, thank you. I feel like I've talked to you a lot this week, Miss Wilkins. I just had a question. We use the term parenting goals of pregnant and parenting AACPS students. Is that specifically geared towards paternal aspects? Is that going to be the thought there?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So yes, it was purposeful, the General Assembly, when they put pregnant and parenting, because the father of the child also has rights. And so while they obviously want to meet the needs of the pregnant student, the other party in the matter also may need to, as far as lawful absences, for example, whether they have doctor's appointments or court dates or things of that nature that relate specifically to pregnant and parenting needs, that would apply to both parents. So yes.
Good. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you. So I see no other lights.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Item 8.01, monthly financial status report and FY 2022 revenue and expenditure projections. The dynamic duo.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. You have the documents in front of you, and we're glad to answer any questions you may have.
Ms. Frank, is that still you? Ms. Schalheim.
Actually, I did have one question. Thank you as always. How I noticed, probably due to the ongoing transportation issues, that the transportation fiscal year to date spent is still lower than some of the other most of the other categories relative to where we are in the school year. But then there's the gas prices being as they are. So do we think we're still going to come out on budget by the end of the fiscal year? How do you see fuel playing a part in the projections going forward?
Sure, thank you. Again, Alex Shackno, Chief Operating Officer. I'm joined by Matt Stansky, Director of Financial Operations. So really, transportation really is two dynamics. And the first thing I want to indicate is some of our spending categories really have a full 12-month spend. So think about maintenance. They really begin spending July 1. So you'll see their spend rate tracks with the calendar a little bit better than transportation. It really doesn't begin to spend till September. So you always got to be careful of the calendaring effect. That's first. But secondarily, directly to your point, yes, we're very concerned about the fuel price increase. We, like many motorists, are eagerly watching if there's any relief at the federal and state level that could help that. I still believe we'll finish essentially on target in terms of not overrunning our budgets, but it remains a concern. We certainly did not build a budget, planning on oil being $95 a barrel as it was just at the close of the market today. So it's something we watch each and every day, because the way our contracts work is we do not lock in and fix a fuel fee for the year. So fuel is a commodity that sort of floats up and down with market rate pricing. So it is something, again, that we keenly watch each and every day. It's a game we play. You can ask me at any minute what the price of fuel is, and I'll tell you. So.
Great, thank you. And I think 95 is actually a dip from where it was. I think it was over 100 for a minute or two or three.
It actually reached $129 and a few cents.
Dang.
At one point at the high water mark.
Wow. All right. Thank you for the explanation. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay.
I think I have consensus. Good night, everyone.